Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Real Undisputed Wrestling Wrestle Talk podcast. It is your host, Alexander Souls. But this time, I thought we'd do something a little different. It has been a while since I last recorded a podcast episode. And usually, what we do here is we talk about Real Undisputed Wrestling. But this time, I thought we'd do something different. And I thought that I'd come back with a bang. Because I am joined here by none other than the GTS United States Champion, Tony Chini.
Right on. What an intro. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem, man. Never thought I would have Tony Chini on a podcast.
Hey man, I'm open to talk. I sometimes I go through my phases where I don't want to do it, but then I kind of go through a phase where I put it up there and I'm just like, hey, who has a podcast? And I'm usually pretty quick to jump on it, as you can tell.
Yeah, I'm down to do a podcast with just about anybody. Fans, other wrestlers. I'm down to do a podcast with anybody. So, I'm glad to have you here.
I'm glad to be here, my man. Thank you.
All right. So, is there anything in particular that you would like to discuss on this podcast?
Man, I just want to talk about wrestling. What am I doing? What have I been doing the last couple weeks? Or not just me, but whatever you want to talk about, whatever you've been watching. What are you thinking about, like independent wrestling and WWE, AEW, all that good stuff? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sounds pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with a question about your reign. I'm gonna start off with a question about your reign as GTS United States Champion. So, the question I was wanting to ask, with you being the United States Champion in GTS Wrestling, who do you think is the biggest threat to your title reign and why?
Wow, man. Hey, we made this podcast arrangement pretty quick, but you're coming on with some good questions already.
Yeah.
Um, honestly, one of the former United States champions, and not Jungle Jim because I'm not afraid of Jungle Jim, but
Uh,
Flash Carter.
mhm.
Flash Carter, he would have pulled one over on me if Francesco wasn't the referee in that last match, and I will admit it. But but he had to cheat to win.
That's what I don't like. Yeah, people pull and pull, and then when they're in the match, they find a way out to win, and they don't win fairly.
Yeah, man. I've been there before, and I told him this in the beginning of the match that I've been him in that position where it's like, I think that I have to take those shortcuts to try to win. And I was in this whole feud with Jay Evans for the YouTube title, and I lost. And then I ended up getting fired from GTS. But I came back with a new attitude, and I whipped myself into shape, and all of a sudden I came back and became the YouTube champion. And then now obviously I've lost that, but now I have the United States Championship. So either way, the results have proven that my change in attitude is helped me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, totally.
So now if Flash already came in with a good attitude, and I helped him. For those of you who don't know, in the beginning of 2020, before the pandemic started, I was training at the Wrestle Factory in Philadelphia, and that's where I met Flash Carter. Flash Carter was brand new. I had already had wrestling experience at that point, but for Flash Carter, this was his first training. He was brand new, didn't even know a bump from a shoulder tackle. But at this point, he's developed himself into his own thing, and he's he started off as Jobber Jared and really became Flash Carter on his own. You know what I mean? That nobody did that for him, and he's been doing really well. But just this recent attitude change, like I said, it's not gonna get him the results that he wants.
Yeah, I totally understand. Flash Carter, he's the real definition of an underdog. If I'm being perfectly honest, he's the real definition of an underdog. But this attitude, he's getting all in Grimm's face and saying, "I deserve a shot at that world title simply because I've beaten everyone that's been in front of me." Flash, he's worked his way up, yeah, but I think he's got to get more work in if he wants to win the World Championship. That's a big title. And I hate to say it, but I don't know if Flash is ready to hold that title.
Hey man, I have been with GTS for over 3 years now, and it took me 3 years to get that YouTube championship, and I don't even know if I was ready at that point. And it's a lot harder than you think. When I have the United States Championship like I have now, or if I have the Intercontinental Championship or the Tag Team Championship, that's one thing, and it means something to me. But to have that YouTube Championship, I mean, that's the bread and butter. That's the whole deal. That's why people come from all over the country, all over the world to compete at GTS to maybe have a shot at that YouTube championship.
Definitely. Moving on. Let's talk about something completely different.
Oh, and just a little side note. I do have to say that I outdid Flash on the United States Championship board already because I'm a double United States champion, being the UWC United States champion and GTS United States champion at the same time.
Yes, yes.
Making history.
Yes. Okay, moving on to a completely different topic. Let's talk AEW. And
Let's do it. So
okay.
I need you to actually kind of put me up to date on like what's been going on AEW Dynamite, because I've been keeping up on Dark and Dark Elevation, but Dynamite it's been hard for me to catch as of recent. So kind of like catch me up. I saw that Jungle Boy and Kenny Omega had a really good match. I saw that, and this is like the most recent stuff that I'm updated on. So correct me and update me to where I need to be.
Oh yeah, totally. So about that Jungle Boy and Kenny Omega match, unfortunately Jungle Boy got on the short end of the stick, and unfortunately he did not become AEW World Champion. Which makes me ask, who is going to end Kenny's reign as champion?
That's tough to say, man. Like, I mean, following what I have followed these last, couple weeks or a few months even, he's been doing a really good job. He's been doing all that cross promotional work. He's been all over the place, and he's obviously a top tier performer. I mean, there's not a lot of options to put in front of Kenny Omega, and like, who are they? Like think about it. Like, other than Jungle Boy, who has, I think, the best win-loss record in AEW, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, other than him, who really, honestly, like, kind of stands a chance right now as far as like ratings go, as far as like being at that level? You know what I mean? Like, who do you think maybe?
I don't know. That's tough. I mean, Kenny has beaten everyone in his path. I mean, he's kind of done it with the help of the Elite. I think if he was to face some of the opponents he's already faced and have the Elite be banned from ringside, I'd say Kenny Omega is getting his ass whooped. Guys like John Moxley. I'm if I'm not mistaken, I think John has beaten him on like 2 separate occasions.
I think so. I think both on pay-per-view.
Yep, single-handedly, John beats Kenny.
John
Now,
Moxley, I'm pretty sure when he debuted, he made his statement known on Kenny Omega.
yes, on Kenny and Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to catch you up, the rivalry between the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle, it's rising. I know people say that it's been at a boiling point, but I think now at this point it has reached a boiling point. This past Dynamite, Sammy Guevara had a match with MJF. Okay, Chris Jericho was on commentary, I think, for the whole show. Main event time, closing moments of the match, Wardlow comes out. Okay, Chris gets off commentary to confront Wardlow, and I think Wardlow like injures his arm or something. And then you have Shawn Spears come out and he whacks Sammy Guevara literally on the top of the head, knocking him out completely.
Now,
And then
with a chair or like with his hand or?
with a chair.
Oh man, like Cody Rhodes style.
Yeah. Cody
Jeez.
Rhodes style. Knocked him out with a chair, causing MJF to get the win.
Man.
Yeah. I don't really watch Dynamite as often as other people do. So, I mean, kind of like you, I have to catch up to a few things. The rivalry between the Young Bucks and John Moxley and Eddie Kingston, man, that rivalry is getting better every week.
I mean, everything I see of Eddie Kingston's is just really passionate, and that's something that I really appreciate about him.
Exactly.
And I mean, there's a lot of really good good talents wrestlers on AEW right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you were saying?
Sorry about that little technical difficulty on my end, but anyway, I was just saying that there's a lot of really great talents right now in AEW. I was gonna put over Big Swole. It's like super entertaining. I like, every time she's on screen, I gotta number one, I gotta dance to her theme song, and number two, I gotta watch her wrestle because she's hard hitting, just really really good. A lot of good female talent in AEW right now, but also obviously a lot of good male talent. And like I said, like I said before, Eddie Kingston, Jungle Boy is phenomenal. My sister actually really wants me to wrestle Jungle Boy because my sister's favorite actor was Jungle Boy's father, Luke Perry. So she really it's like her goal, like not like I mean like yeah, it's of course a goal of mine because I'm a fan of Jungle Boys, but her goal in wrestling personally for me is to wrestle Jungle Boy one day.
I could see that match happening. You guys share the same charisma. That match would really deliver with the audience.
I appreciate that, man. I would love to do it for sure, and we definitely have similar hair. His is a little bit nicer than mine, but it would definitely look good.
Yeah. Okay, moving on from AEW to NXT. All right.
NXT's heating up right now with Samoa Joe, man.
Oh, yes, it is. Speaking
I
of
just
which,
I just read somewhere that he might be competing again too.
oh, I hope so. I hope he is the one to end Karrion Kross's reign as NXT champion.
That would be really really cool, honestly, because I don't think that he was kind of handed the wrong cards on the main roster, and I think that he should have been the WWE champion, at least once. I mean, he really was, especially when he was feuding with AJ. He was doing really well as a heel, and
Yes.
they really got to show off like why they were a good feud. And at that time, like I was not as involved like watching WWE, but I was so involved with that storyline I had to keep watching, and I mean they still delivered, all those years later.
Totally, totally. Okay. On the track of NXT, the rivalry between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, I believe, comes to an end this Tuesday at Great American Bash. No holds barred match, just like they had at NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver. What are your thoughts?
Now I was kind of gonna like throw it around on you real quick and ask you, like, do you think, like, because we already know obviously that Adam Cole, like, he was kind of the centerpiece of the Undisputed Era, and it wasn't Undisputed Era baby, it was always Adam Cole baby because he was the one that was over, if you want to say. Now, do you
Definitely.
think, like, since this split up, do you think that Kyle O'Reilly can effectively like obtain that level of being over to where the whole crowd is going to be screaming his name, you know what I mean, or the buying his merchandise? And I'm not saying that I don't think he has that charisma because he's very talented and he's very good, but I want to know as your perspective, like, what do you think?
I mean, the fans love Kyle O'Reilly. They really do. And I mean, if Kyle keeps up that charisma, I believe someday Kyle will reach the status that Adam Cole has reached.
Because Adam Cole, I feel like, is one of those people that can go right onto the main roster of WWE and people will get it right away. You know what I mean? People will automatically be Adam Cole, baby, like right away. They'll know what's up. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure he actually did a main roster thing one time, maybe a year or two ago or something like that, and they knew the fans were behind it. But the thing is like, if Kyle O'Reilly goes just by himself, he's gonna get that pop. But is it gonna be the Adam Cole baby pop?
Right, right.
I
Because
mean, at the end of the day, he might have that drive and that charisma, but it's just Adam Cole already has the people like behind him. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Because every time Adam Cole makes his way to the ring, all the fans chant Adam Cole, baby. But every time Kyle comes out, nothing other than
Mm-hmm.
cheers. Other than
Yeah,
cheers.
I was about to say cheers. You know what I mean? Like, but there's nothing to get behind.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And I'm not saying that he needs a catchphrase. I'm not saying anything like that. It's just that he needs to, because now they've built everything around Adam Cole. He needs to break out from Undisputed Era and be his own Kyle O'Reilly.
Yes.
So I'm not like this is not me like trying to put anything past him or saying anything about him. I'm just saying that he needs to get to that level because, like I said, they built everything around Adam Cole. So now he needs to break away from that. I'm
Yes, yes.
excited to see if he could do it.
You never know. You never know. He could pull it
He's
off.
been doing well so far.
He really has. Okay, now moving on to the Monday Night Raw side of things.
Oof.
So, Kofi beat down MVP, claiming that Bobby Lashley was too soft and that Kofi is going to be the one to take his title at Money in the Bank. Do you think that'll be the case?
I mean, it's just one of those things where you want to see a match and you want to see a good match, and then you're kind of like you kind of look back and you remember Kofi versus Brock Lesnar, and you
Yeah.
just hope that it's not going to happen again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think that Kofi's just extremely talented, and he can put on a good match with somebody like Brock Lesnar or Bobby Lashley. Even though that the size difference is obviously, it's obviously a factor, but I mean, look at somebody like Rey Mysterio having, toe-to-toe matches with people like The Big Show, back in the
Totally.
day. So it's why is it not believable for Kofi Kingston to have more than a 30-second match with Brock Lesnar or Bobby Lashley?
Yeah. Yeah. And now that Drew McIntyre can't challenge for the WWE Championship so long as Bobby is champion, where do you think Drew will go now?
That's a good question because he could go over to what's it called to NXT
SmackDown?
even and try to reclaim that gold, because that didn't really go his way, because once he lost that title he got injured right away.
Yes.
And that's something that I mean, they could build a whole story around that, and that could be really, really interesting. And I mean, if you ask my opinion, I'd like to see him do something like that, because I'm afraid that he's going to get lost in that main roster, because they just put him over big. They just had him. They made him have his big moment. That they ran with him as the champion for like a good solid year, and I just don't want him to get lost.
Yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like Finn
Okay.
Balor. Like Finn Balor was getting lost for a while, and then they threw him in NXT. Like if they just put Drew right there and they make it hot, like right away, that could even be Finn Balor's ticket back up to the main roster. They can kind of swap.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happen. And that was just about, that was right when I was just about to ask, where do you think Finn would end up next? But, you kind of already answered that question.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be the smartest thing to do, in my opinion, would be to swap them out. And I think that Finn has put in more time there in NXT, and now he's there to do that. And now they have Samoa Joe back there, so they have that. And if he starts competing again, they have him there. But now you bring Drew McIntyre in there, and it's a whole nother factor. And I feel like they should really start bringing back a couple of those guys from like the old school NXT. Like they got rid of Tyler Breeze. But like Tyler Breeze back in like the NXT days that I remember, like NXT Brooklyn when he faced Jushin Liger and just I don't know. I mean, he had so many classic matches and he was such a great talent. And then he's one of those people that got extremely lost on the main roster to the point where they just kind of forgot about him and then fired him.
Yep, pretty much.
And that's a shame. I mean, he was one of my favorites. Well, I didn't really when I first heard about NXT, I was like, I'm not even gonna lie. I was just like, I don't really care. Like, you know, once they make it to the main roster, I'll see them and whatever. But
I was honestly the same way.
Yeah, and then I'm sure a lot of people were, but then I actually watched like the wrestling and I remember one of the first things I saw, I almost turned off the TV. It was Tyler Breeze's like music video for his song. And I was like, what the heck is this? But then when I saw like his gimmick and I saw him wrestling and I saw him doing his thing, I was like, all right, I can get behind this. This is actually really funny.
Yeah.
And he was just extremely talented. That's why they put him against Jushin Liger, you know, in that huge show in Brooklyn. I mean, that's a huge moment. I mean, that's a big match. And when they announced Liger, I was so excited.
Yes. Okay, so still on the Monday Night Raw topic, I would love to hear your thoughts on this because this is not really going very well with the fans. But I'm just gonna go into it and ask it. What are your thoughts on the current Eva Marie situation?
So that's another thing that I haven't seen much of, but I saw like what they did with the debut. I saw that they had I forget her name, but they had that girl from NXT UK come out with her.
Piper Niven.
And yes, yep. And then they had her compete for Eva Marie, but then they announced Eva as the winner. Is that like something that they kept doing after that?
Yeah, they just kept doing it, and like Eva would take credit for Piper Niven, now known as Dewdrop.
Oh, okay. Dewdrop. Oh God.
Yeah.
That's a little close to Doo-Hop.
Yeah.
That's actually hilarious.
But yeah, it's like every time she wins a match, Eva Marie just doesn't even give her the credit and announces herself as the winner. Which I mean, honestly, it's really making Dewdrop kind of jealous, and you know she's slowly turning on Eva.
Yeah, I mean, this is like one of those weird storylines where I feel like what they might be. I mean, it's hard to tell. What they might be trying to do is maybe eventually build it to a feud between the two of them, and then have Eva put over Dewdrop, and like kind of have it as like, you know, like somebody who's been in the business putting over somebody who's coming in. But I just don't think that works out because I mean, Eva Marie like was never really anything too special or great in the wrestling ring. So, I mean, she's not really in a position where to be doing that. I mean, maybe that's why they're doing what they're doing now. Maybe they're still trying to work with her in the ring. Maybe they're trying to surprise people. You know what I mean? Like, because she wasn't the best, like, before she left. So maybe they're trying to make it so all of a sudden she gets in the ring and it's like, oh, shit, you know, maybe she could wrestle.
Yeah. Okay. So, from Monday Night Raw to Friday Night SmackDown, something recent happened that shocked the universe. Edge returned, coming after Roman Reigns and challenging him for the Universal Championship at Money in the Bank.
I saw that. I thought that was strange because I mean, from like, it was already done, you know. I mean, it's not in a singles match, I understand, but it just, I feel like the point was driven, and Roman Reigns, I mean, came out like very superior at the end of that match at WrestleMania, and that was against Edge and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, why drive the point any further? I mean, it's really, to me, it's just going to be, unless there's going to be some sort of screwy type finish, to me, it should be another easy win for Roman.
I could see that. But, I mean, to me, if you think about it, the match that happened at WrestleMania, you know, that wasn't the one-on-one match that Edge wanted. because Daniel Bryan came in and, he kind of made it all about himself. And so that
Mm-hmm.
pissed Edge off, and, resulted in what we saw at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense that they're wrestling, one on one. But it's just with the ending that they did at WrestleMania, just making Roman look so strong. That's the thing that leads me to think that there's got to be something screwy that's going to happen. Like it's not going to be a normal one-on-one match. You know what I mean? Maybe it's going to have some sort of stipulation, or maybe somebody's going to be on the outside or something. You know what I mean? Something's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I could totally see that happening.
Obviously, Christian's not coming in.
Christian became an elite guy.
Yep, Christian Cage.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw. Now, how much has he wrestled since he actually came to AEW?
Okay, I'd say he's a part-timer. Now he's currently in a rivalry with Team Taz.
Because it's weird because you would have thought when he first came in he had that shirt that said outwork everyone and all that kind of stuff, and I thought that meant that he was going to be wrestling every week and doing these crazy matches and all that, but I feel like he's been in 3 matches or something like that since coming back, maybe.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, so that's weird. I mean, when you think outwork everyone, like I said, you think this guy's going to work every night, but he's just been kind of standing around. I mean, every time I see him, he's in a t-shirt and jeans, and he looks really tired.
Yeah, and he's just kind of meh. He's not as interesting as he used to be. It's like he comes out and you're just kind of like, meh.
Yeah, it's sad to say because I grew up loving Christian, and I know that he could still wrestle and he could still put on a good match and everything. It's just he's not that Captain Charisma anymore. He's meh. Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunately true. So, we pretty much talked about everything that I wanted to talk about. A few more things before we leave.
Sure.
Quick question, because I'm genuinely curious. Out of all the people in GTS Wrestling, which one would you say is your favorite to work with, and why?
That's another really good question. Man, I mean, there's a lot of I'm not trying to put anybody else to the side because I love working with everyone because GTS is one of those places where no matter who you work with, no matter what you do, you can learn from somebody. I mean, even if you know more than that person, that doesn't mean that they might not know something that you don't know. And there's always something to be learned or something to be taught, and it's just it's a great place to learn. But anyway, if I had to pick somebody, I'm going to take the easy way out, and I'm going to say Grim and that's not just in the ring, but just outside of the ring, because he's one of those people that we all learn from, and yeah, he's kind of like a tree of knowledge, and just he's helped us all out a lot, and I really enjoy working with him.
Understandable. Grim to me is a great guy. My mom doesn't really like him, but
I'm sure a lot of people's moms don't like him.
But I mean, yeah, I like Grim. I enjoy watching him. I enjoy the work he does in the ring. I'm not discrediting anybody. But yeah, Grim seems like a really good guy. He seems like he knows what he's doing and he knows how to run a wrestling promotion. Maybe I could get some help from him on the how to run my promotion.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's got an email and he's got Twitter. He answers the fans all the time. He answers people on Twitter all the time. So
Yeah.
I mean, message him. He's like I said, a wealth of knowledge. So I mean, watch and learn, and definitely pay attention to how he runs things because he's doing something right.
Yeah. Now, one last thing before we get off here. So I know I'm not well known, and you basically just met me, and I kind of have to introduce myself to the crowd a little bit more. I have to get RUW to grow, but right now that's not easy. But I genuinely want to know, if I kept trying and I did my best, would you think I would have a spot in GTS wrestling?
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, if everybody, this is the biggest thing is that, like, if you have that drive and you have the will and you really want it, then you have to just do everything you can to obtain it. And that's just all I can say about that, man. I mean, it's hard work, it's dedication. Keep doing what you're doing. If you want to be there as a wrestler, I mean, go to a good training school and get some training in, and that will definitely help you out, because that's pretty much like a one-way ticket in. You know what I mean? If you can get over to GTS and you already have the training, then you got something good. But if you want to come as something else, and I mean, just like I said, Grimm is giving people a lot of opportunities, and he's a good dude. So it's never say never. And I've seen a lot of people just like yourself who have found GTS online and just was a fan and decided that they wanted to be on there, and all of a sudden there they are. I mean, all right. Sorry about that. Take three. We're back again. And basically, what I was saying is that if you do find a school, that will definitely help you out a lot. But other than that, what I was trying to say is that a lot of fans and a lot of people who watch the show, such as myself, or Jimmy Controversy, or Dalton, or AE2, they just started off watching the show, and then they came on the show, and they became people that everybody knows and loves today. So I would never say never, and I hope to see you on someday, man. I enjoyed our conversation today.
I enjoyed the conversation too. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Wrestle Talk podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Tony, thank you for being here.
Thank you, guys. And just so you know, my name is Tony Chini. You can find me at Tony Chini 96 on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on Tony Chini on Facebook. You can find Tony Chini on YouTube, all over the place. And of course, you can go on GTS Wrestling and find me there weekly.
All right. And Tony, if you want to follow me, my social medias are Real Alex Souls on Twitter, Real Alexander Souls on Instagram. And I will leave a link to my original YouTube channel in the link below, and the Real Undisputed Wrestling channel in the link below. This has been Real Undisputed Wrestling with Alexander Souls, and we will see y'all in the next one. Peace.